Hi amazing people of the internet, welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben and this is my review for Apple's original film, The Greatest Beer Run Ever. Let's jump in. A man's story of leaving New York in 1967 to bring beer to his childhood buddies in the army while they are fighting in Vietnam. So crazy enough, this film is based on a true story. So there is of course going to be embellishment of characters and story, but for the most part, the core story of what actually happened is there. And it's incredible to watch. Zac Efron plays our protagonist, the guy that's going to take all the beers to his friends in Vietnam. It continues to be a war that is talked about all the time, apart from the two main ones, because we still kind of don't really know what was the purpose of the whole thing. And there's two camps of the side of the story, which it goes into without being preachy. It's definitely at the forefront of the story, but it's more about this character who, he feels like he's done nothing really about the war. He needs to do something. He keeps getting challenged, and he goes on a whim, sort of, on a beer run, thinking, yeah, this is a great run, this will be good for them. And the mothers and the people, when they hear that he is going, you know, it all starts becoming a community thing. And that is kind of the beginning of the film. And then the rest is his experience through Vietnam. We also have one of the main protagonists is Russell Crowe. It was great to see him, and Bill Murray as the bartender. So there are some top tier A-list actors, but Zac Efron carries the weight of the beer run dude. And this film is two films. It's one that kind of tells you what went on from both sides and doesn't shy away from that. But it's also a growing up story. And this film is really interesting because it takes the viewer on the journey of this adventure, harrowing story. It starts off quite light-hearted as we see him encounter one of his friends from back home, and they laugh about it and say it's crazy, but seriously, you need to go home now because this is not the place for a civilian. And then there's the story about how he gets to all the places that he does. Very interesting, very funny, but when we get to the moments where he encounters the war for real, it doesn't shy away from showing us what that looked like. It doesn't take sides, which I really liked. It just showed what the Vietnam War was like. Gets you to ask a few questions as we see our character start to grow and ask things for himself. He leaves home, New York, having one mindset, thinking he knows what the answers are, what the truth is. And then when he comes back, he has a new truth. Still believes some of that truth, but then that's clouded now with the truth of his experience of what he experienced in those moments. It's very different for people to judge and say certain things like, this is what this means, and you know, you're not going to change my mind. And then you take that person, put them in that place, get them to experience, you know, meeting people of different cultures and then seeing them blown up, you know, seeing their legs blown up, and then you start questioning those things perhaps. It's also quite light-hearted, so in parts it's harrowing, in other parts it's really funny. The experience, the journey is unbelievable. The fact that it is true makes it all the more enjoyable because you can't believe this is a story that is true. I think Zac Efron plays it perfectly. He plays this guy that needs to learn something but wants more for his life and goes and finds that. And then the experience of that intertwined with the kind of broken Russell Crowe, who's a war correspondent, and he has experienced lots of war, and he kind of speaks truth. It's a very interesting juxtaposition film because on one hand it shines a light on the war, on the other hand it shines a light on the politics, and then the other hand it shines a light on you. And so you have this comedy, harrowing at times, true story. Very interesting, well filmed. It looks beautiful in the most harrowing way. The score is fantastic, the editing, all good. Like as a film, the techniques that are used are great, but I think you're going to forget about that because you're going to be absorbed into the story and then still be thinking about the story at the end. I'm going to give this a solid 4 Nicolas Cages out of 5. Tyler! Woo! Let me know if you enjoyed this as much as I did. What are your thoughts on the film? Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.